Hi, I'm Phil, and I've got an IM600 speaker system by Altec-Lansing. It's broken. I fixed my other one, and this one is broken. I decided I was going to take it apart. I'll show you what I did to get it apart. And because this is broken, I felt I could do whatever I wanted to with it. I wanted to put this disclaimer in that what you do with your own equipment is up to you. I don't want to hear about it if you scratch it, if you dent it, if you break it. I'll try and give you some hints ahead of time on stuff that tripped me up on when I was playing with it. But please keep in mind that what you do with your equipment is certainly your responsibility. Please be responsible and be careful. I don't want you to get hurt, and I don't want you to break anything. Okay, on to the video. I wanted to show you first of all a little bit more about how I took the screen off the front of it. This is, of course, a speaker system. It's made by Altec-Lansing. It allows you to put the iPod right in here, think like this, and play it. Except this one's broken, so I took it apart. And I'll show you how I took it apart. The screen, first of all, is just pressed into place. So what I did was, with a fresh razor blade and my knife, because I got a nice sharp corner up there, I got into the corner and managed to lift it up. Okay, let's try again. Get into one of these holes and lift it up. Okay, so I've got this corner pried up just a little bit. It's just enough that in this corner, because there's no screen, I can put a small screwdriver in it. And I pulled up, pried in, and got this edge up. Then I can go this way, do the same thing and pull up, and pull apart the top part. And then I can go into the top part here, and pull up on this, and work my way down across the front with my screwdriver to lift up further. Gotta be careful you don't stick your screwdriver into the speakers, by the way. Honest, it'll come out. There it is. There it is. So that's how I got the screen off the outside. Okay, now for the front of the machine, you'll see I've already got the speaker out of this. The speaker is held in place with 4 screws. You got 2 longer screws that go in all the way through the front case into the back, and 2 shorter screws, smaller screws, that go in just to the front case and help hold the speaker in. When you take out the 4 screws, make sure you get the right ones in the right spot. Anyway, so I took the speakers out. There's insulation stuffed in here also for sound, so I took that out. And then to get the case off, the front case, there are 8 visible screws. There's the 4 corners, then there's 4 around the bottom here, and there's 2 behind this translucent plate that's on the front. So this plate I had to get off. Well, as it turns out, I needed to get off, but I didn't realize it at the time. And it's glued on. So once I started it like that, I could get it and work my way down and take it off. You can see it's just glued on. When I got that off, it exposed 2 more screw holes here and here that unfortunately I didn't even know were in there. So when I took mine apart, I actually just got the 8 screws that I could see, and I pried the thing off, and I broke off the 2 screws that were in there. Oh no. Anyway, so once you get the screws out, you can work your way around the case, prying it off and working from the inside. You're going to damage it a little bit, but if you really want to get it apart, that's the way to do it. Now I took the speakers off first, but you don't have to. You can leave the speakers on and then they'll be attached by the wires. Once you get into this, then the two screws are actually that you take out behind there hold on this display. You can take this display out by pulling it out, and it is just held on with a inline pin connector. So if you want to put it back in, you can just line up the pins again and push it in. So if you have a bad display, it's easy to repair. It's easy to, well, I shouldn't say easy. You can take it apart by just taking that piece off. Okay, now the battery case. To get the battery out of this, there are two small screws in the back, and I've already got them out, so I can't show you the tiny screws. But the two screws here, I'm sorry, there's one here and one here. If you take those two screws out, then the battery case basically falls open. Literally falls. Anyway, and then the battery is in place here. It's got a little bit of a sticky thing here. It's holding it in. And I've already taken this out and taken it apart, so I apologize for that mess. And then the connector that holds it in, it's got a release pin here that you can push with your thumb to get the battery off. And that's how you get the battery out. And I'll do more on the battery in another segment. I don't want to spend any more time on this than I already have. Thanks. Okay, one more note. I want to let you know that if you do want to take the circuit board out, and I can't imagine why you'd ever want to, but if you do, you can take it out by removing a couple of screws. I had to loosen up a bunch of the wires. The wires, by the way, have a lot of what refrigeration people sometimes call monkey shit. It's just black gooey stuff that you can pull off and allows you to get the wires out of the way a little bit. But there's two small screws that hold the circuit board down. One in this corner of the circuit board and one in this corner of the circuit board. When you take those two screws out, there is a standoff that's here that is used to hold the display on and the two hidden screws that hold the case on. You have to take either a small nut driver or what I did, needle nose pliers, and unscrew these. They're threaded into the plastic of the back case. You take those two out of the way from the top, and then the circuit board will tilt out. Unfortunately, they glued it in. There are two screw holes down here with bosses that come up that have to be slipped over. But what they did on this was, after they were ready to assemble it, they sprayed glue down here on both sides and embedded the circuit board in it, so it's almost impossible to get it off without breaking. So I broke one of my bosses here in order to make it a little easier to get up this side, because I get up one side, then I can work my way down to the other side and get it up. But I don't recommend it. They don't really make it easy to get into it. So, but it is possible. I haven't got the rest of this apart, and I don't plan to. There's not really much I can do with the rest of it. So, all right, thanks.